All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Wolferts at Georgia Integrated Health. Just want to take a couple minutes to go through some pretty important information I think will help you understand your health a whole lot better. More importantly, what can you do when your health isn't going the way that you want it to? So I want to begin over here by writing down a couple of organs you might recognize. We got the brain, we've got the thyroid, we've got the heart, muscles, M's and J's for muscles and joints. We'll add in the gut here. Obviously, there's a lot more to this, but here's what I want to focus on is our organs are where we get our health from. To be able to do anything, to think, to move, to sleep, to dream, all the things that you love doing in your life is all because your organs are working together to create your ability to function. And the quality of that function is going to determine how well you get to live day to day. So you could live a long time with your organs being alive, but if the quality of their function is not great, then that's not going to be a very good quality of life. So our ability to be healthy day to day is coupled to our organs' ability to do their job, but also to do their job well. Now, as we go out and engage in life, we're going to encounter things that will threaten the health of our organs. Things in the environment, things in the air, things in the food we eat, the water we drink. Those things around us have the potential to upset, to damage, to even destroy our organs. So we have to have a way of protecting ourselves against that. And that's what this fire here is going to represent. That fire is what we call the immune system. Anytime we encounter something that threatens our health, our well-being, that immune system kicks in to identify a problem and then to neutralize it. And I like a fire because, well, even the word inflammation has flame in it, and that fire can be very cleansing, like sterilizing a needle. And so when we encounter a problem on a cellular level, microscopic level, we have this inflammation that can kick up to kill that off, to protect the organs. Now that's what happens when you have an acute situation. Short-term inflammation, it turns on, it does its job, and then, if you will, it turns back off again. When you start to develop more chronic inflammation, when this immune system is finding reasons to be agitated all the time, its ability to protect your organs can actually start to go away. And it can be actually the very source of damage to the organs itself. And when that happens, like, for example, when inflammation gets into the brain and it's chronically there, there's all sorts of symptoms that come up. Things like brain fog, memory issues, concentration, mood instability, sleep problems. When it hits the thyroid, you start to get fatigue issues, weight management problems, just day-to-day function. I could go through all of these, right? Muscles and joints get affected by inflammation. That's arthritis. You can't hardly move. So that inflammation can definitely impact how we get to feel and function day to day. And I could write down probably 1,000 different symptoms that would show up as a result of chronic inflammation. And the thing is you could probably go to a doctor, a specialist for every single one of those things. Turn on the TV and you'll find a medication for every symptom that comes up as a result of your organs suffering. And if they're suffering because of chronic inflammation, you can be seeing specialist after specialist, getting diagnosis after diagnosis, all for the exact same issue. So I want to turn our focus towards the immune system for a second here, because I think it's important that we understand, well, then if inflammation chronically can do this to our organs, well, then what would keep the immune system chronically inflamed? So let's look at a few things that we see at our office. We're going to start with, well, infections. I think we can all agree, infections, every one of us has dealt with an infection. Infections are definitely a source of inflammation. Injuries, slips and falls, bumps and bruises, things along the way, right? You stub your toe, what happens? It gets red, it gets hot, it gets swollen. That's inflammation. Again, sources of inflammation. Hormones. Boy, when we look at hormones in our office, we see things like insulin surges, right? So that ties into the food we eat. As Americans, we have a tendency to eat foods that are very pro-insulin, meaning because it is going to affect our blood sugar, it always drives up insulin, and long-term high spikes, high surges in insulin are always very inflammatory. We see estrogen surges in females and in males. And the way that shows up in men, guys, you end up having low testosterone. And that gets funded into estrogen. And estrogen and insulin can actually ping pong back and forth off each other, again, driving inflammation. Toxin exposure in the environment. We can just keep adding things to this list here, right? Toxins, people working around chemicals all day, people eating food that's full of pesticides, being around animals, being bitten by things, ticks and spiders. These are all toxins. A major one we see here in Georgia is mold. Mold growing in homes that have had water damage, schools, office buildings, just places where it wasn't treated correctly, and because of how humid it is all the time and warm all the time, we get mold that grows, triggers toxins in our system, or to accumulate in our system, chronic source of inflammation. We add to that the food we eat, which we talked about a little bit before, the poor quality of food that we have, where we're eating stuff that's processed, full of sugar, which again drives up insulin, things that are pesticide laden, things that have very few vitamins in them anymore. When we put food in, that can also be a source of inflammation. Stress is a source of inflammation. When you're in a crummy work environment, coworkers who don't like you, boss you don't get along with, demands on your schedule, going home to a relationship that's not healthy or toxic, different forms of stress that come in, bills to pay, things of that nature. They drive up certain hormones like cortisol, which affect blood sugar, which again runs this whole cycle of inflammation. Other sources of stress and things like overstimulation, caffeine all day, energy drinks, Red Bulls, turning on the TV late at night, watching the news, staying up late all the time, which will tie into sleep here, right? Poor sleep habits, not going to sleep and allowing your body to process all the day's inflammation, but kind of putting handcuffs on it by staying up all night. Bad hydration habits, right? Thinking, the sweet tea has water in it, therefore I must be getting water. Like, all of these things are like individual little squirts of gasoline on this fire. Now, just one of these things alone most likely isn't going to create all the health problems you're dealing with, but when you start to have 2, 3, 4, maybe I take that back. We've seen toxins, we've seen people exposed to mold that just totally wrecks their life. So the more you have exposure to these things, one of them over a long time or multiple simultaneously over and over and over again, just continues to dump, if you will, gasoline on this inflammatory fire and continues to make you sick, continues to cause you to have to keep going back and getting prescriptions changed and filled and then surgeries planned and all this. In our office, what we focus on is looking at the lifestyle that a person's exposing themselves to. Taking the time to dig in, to order testing that is comprehensive, that is thorough, that is complete, to root out all of these issues and figure out how many of these things are at play in this person's life that's allowing this to continue to happen. You see, when you get to that, I want to point to this tree over here. All the symptoms and all the issues you could write down over here would be like fruit all over the top of this tree. And if you're unhappy with the fruit that you're getting, you can try and medicate the fruit all you want, but you're really not going to get anywhere. What you really need to do is be able to lay an axe right to the root of this tree. So we got to start over here. We got to get rid of all of these issues that are causing this whole problem to begin with, so you can begin to plant new seeds of health and grow fruit over time that allows you to do things like sleep well through the night, have energy during the day, maintain a good healthy weight, balancing your hormones naturally, maintaining a good healthy sex life, all of the things that bring quality of life to us. So as we look at kind of coming back to this thing and understanding, again, when it comes to healthcare, you've got your choice of how you want to approach these problems. You can keep trying to fight it from this end and always run into these problems. You can eventually start tackling inflammation by prescribing immunosuppressants, giving anti-inflammatories. But if you totally shut off inflammation, then that means the next time you counter an infection, you're not prepared to deal with it. And now that infection has a chance to go in and destroy things, or injuries begin to fester. So this is not about destroying your inflammatory response. This is about, can we take the stress and the burden off of it and allow your body to utilize this powerful tool when it's needed in the event of, a unlikely or a random chance that you got into an accident, you caught a cold or a flu. Yeah, you fight that off. So by identifying the lifestyle and then chopping away at each issue, freeing up the body of these burdens, then allows it to focus on healing these organs, which in turn allows your body to reverse the symptoms, and you just get to start feeling better. So have a great day today. It's good to see you guys. Take care.